This is Too Real for Radio. I am your host, Paris Jill. For those of y'all who are new, welcome. And those of y'all that are returning listeners, welcome back. Y'all already know what time it is. I ain't gotta say much more. It took me a while to do this episode because it's kind of triggering for me. I honestly came up with the idea of this episode a week ago, and I've been putting it off. And it is triggering. So those of y'all who are survivors or victims of domestic violence or abuse, please listen cautiously or do not listen at all. I'm not forcing anyone to listen to this. I'm not going to be all like, oh, y'all need to hear this, da-da-da. This episode is geared towards more abuse education. I'm no expert. I am a survivor of domestic violent relationships. Or, no, let me rephrase that. I'm a survivor of abusive relationships. That's what I meant to say. Y'all gonna have to, like, give me a break because, you know, I got a 3-month-old. We sleep, we don't sleep, we be partying and shit. But, yeah. So, pretty much, what made me want to do this episode was the recent news of a NFL player or former NFL player who was seen on video throwing his girlfriend and the mother of his child across the room from the couch onto the TV, and she hit the floor. And that went off on me. Like, it's crazy. And it's like, I was just like, so many women are going through this, and this is something that I have experienced before. I have dealt with abusive men before. I never really talked about it or told anybody about it because because the type of people who are around me are not the type of people who would care in a way of, oh, are you okay? We're going to help you get out of this or give you the courage to get out of it. I have the type of people around me who are more like, oh, well, you shouldn't be in that anyway. That's your fault for being there, you know? That's the type of people around me. That's the type of family I have. I don't really have people who would actually support me in getting out. I've dated guys who threatened to kill me if I left them or threatened to kill my family if I left them. And it's hard. It's really hard to get out of abusive relationships. It's so easy to tell someone, oh, well, just get out of it. Y'all ain't got no kids. Y'all ain't got no house together. Just get out of it. It's so easy to say that, but it's so much behind it, and it takes a lot of courage to finally do it. What I want to start off with saying is I think a lot of this issue is because, I mean, some guys are just monsters, but in some cases, I really do think a lot of men do not know what abuse is. There's different forms of abuse, and I don't think they know what it is. I think mainly men of my generation, I'm 26 right now, at the time I'm recording this. It's 2021, and I am 26 years old. I think a lot of men around my age were taught, don't hit a girl. Don't hit a girl. Don't hit a woman. Don't hit a woman. So in their mind, they're thinking because they did not physically punch you in the face with a closed fist, that anything else they do is okay. Y'all bold-faced fucking wrong. Okay? So first I'm going to start off, I'm going to also let y'all know my source is the, let me see, what's the thing called? It's the National Abuse, I wrote it down somewhere. I really wrote it down. I just don't remember. I got it from the National. Let me look it up. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to be incorrect, and I'm letting y'all know where I got my information from. Cause I got it from the National Adult Protective Services Association. That's where I got this information from. Although I think they're mainly talking about elderly people who are in nursing homes on their website, this information is accurate and does apply in multiple different types of situations. So, basically the definition of abuse is a form of mistreatment by one individual that causes harm to another person. If you are intentionally doing something to harm someone, that is an abusive act, okay? There's different types of abuse. Physical abuse, which is the most common abuse we think of when we hear abuse. that's causing physical pain or injury or suffering to another person. That's what that is. So, for those of y'all who don't know, who are like me, and those of y'all who have dealt with the type of men that I've dealt with, who justify what they do by saying, "Oh, well, I didn't hit you," you know, it's pretty much, it includes confining someone in a room or tying them to furniture against their will. That's one. So when you have someone who is trying to escape a room or leave a home and you're blocking the doorways, you're throwing them against the wall and stuff. Throwing them against the wall is also a form of abuse. But when you have someone trying to leave, like me, I've been in multiple situations where, when I get upset, I don't want to talk. Because I don't want to say anything I don't mean. I don't want to say anything out of anger. I like to speak when I'm in a clear state of mind, which is another reason why it took me a while to do this podcast. But I'm the type of person, when I'm upset, I just want to get away. I want to go in another room. I want to leave the whole building. I just want to be away from the situation. So when you have someone who is not understanding that, and they decide to block doors, block hallways, block exits and stuff, that is a form of abuse. Okay. Also, taking someone's keys, holding them hostage, that is a form of abuse. Those are things that I've dealt with in multiple relationships. As well as, what a lot of guys do, grabbing a woman, holding her down, throwing her against things, knocking her on the floor, dragging her, doing all kinds of stuff. And yes, I do know that women are abusive as well. I'm going to let y'all know right now. I know a lot of y'all are going to sit here and say, "Oh, well, women are abusive too." I understand that. However, I've never been abused by a woman. So I'm speaking from a woman being abused by men. And I will have another episode where I have a male survivor come and speak. But as of right now, I'm speaking as a woman who has survived abuse by men. Okay? So, those are different forms of physical abuse. Grabbing someone by their hair and pulling them, grabbing them by their neck, throwing them against walls, holding onto their arms, holding a person when they don't want to be touched. Oh my God, if someone tells you do not touch them, do not touch them. Don't justify why you're touching them and think they're okay with that. Someone just said don't touch them. It does not matter if your intention is not to hurt them. It doesn't matter if you're baptizing them in front of Jesus. If someone says do not touch me, remove your hands from their body. I had someone very close to me who has experience in law enforcement tell me that is already like, when that happens, you're already possibly facing a battery charge or an assault charge. That's what I was told. I don't know how much is correct. Don't quote me on that. But like I said, just, don't touch someone. You're making someone feel physically harmed. You're making someone feel unsafe, and you're making the situation way more worse than it is. I don't think anybody realizes what is considered abuse. That is also considered physical abuse, okay? Unwanted touching, touching that is intention to harm, that is abuse, okay? All right. Let's see what we got here next. Why is the beat playing? Let me pause this real quick. Hold up. Okay. Let's see. So the next form of abuse is emotional abuse. The rest of these are kind of, they're very common, but I don't think we realize that these are forms of abuse because we justify it by saying, "I did not hit you." Hitting is not the only form of abuse, and that's the reason I'm doing this episode. So emotional abuse, let's get into that. Emotional abuse is creating emotional pain or distress. So this is when you are doing something or saying something or doing something to cause someone to feel bad emotionally, and you want them to feel bad. That's your intention. That is your goal. Now, there's a difference between doing something with no ill intent and it just so happens to hurt someone's feelings. And a lot of times, sometimes another person won't realize your feelings are hurt, or sometimes they may not care that your feelings are hurt. Y'all, my smoke detector is messed up, so please ignore that. Y'all gonna hear it go off a couple times. I need to fix that. But yeah, so that is another form of abuse, emotional abuse. So what was I saying? No, let me rephrase that. Um if someone doesn't care about your emotions, that's not emotional abuse, because in all due reality, your emotions are your responsibility, and it's your job as an adult or as a person to control how you feel. And it's your perspective of things. Nobody's in control of your perspective. Nobody's in control of your brain. Okay, let's get that understood. So, if you are doing something and you are doing it intentionally to cause someone emotional distress and pain, that is abuse. And that includes things like yelling. If you're yelling at someone because you want them to feel a certain way, saying certain things, saying a lot of harsh comments. Let me see here. What else we got here? Y'all know I got my notes. Threats, isolation, anything to cause fear and intimidation. That is emotional abuse. What else we got here is sexual abuse. Okay. Sexual abuse is causing physical force, threats, or non-consensual touching, fondling, and sexual activities. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, when a woman is upset, I see this all the time. When a woman is upset, guys be like, oh, she just needs some act right. No, there's a serious problem that your dick can't solve. Okay, deal with it. All right. And then sometimes you gotta know your person and know the situation. Sometimes it's not okay to just grab somebody and bend them over and do what you gotta do. No, sometimes you gotta actually analyze the person, analyze the situation, because if this person did not give you the okay to touch their body, you are pretty much raping them. Or, yeah. So, those are also considered forms of abuse, sexual abuse. I believe mental abuse is along the line of emotional abuse. I think mental and emotional abuse are kind of hand in hand. I didn't see a definition of mental abuse on the website, but I think those are pretty much hand in hand because emotions are pretty much a mental thing. So yeah, those are the different definitions of abuse. And now I'm just gonna go into my experiences with abuse. I'm not gonna say too much because, like I said, it is triggering. I'm still healing from certain things up to this day. I've dealt with so much over the years, with different people, and it does take a toll on you. Like it's triggering. When I saw that video, oh my god, that did something to me. Because like I said, a lot of guys don't know that they're still being abusive. Just because you did not physically punch a woman with a closed fist like you would do a guy at a bar does not mean you're not being abusive. That is abuse. I don't know if it's the fact that some guys don't know it, but I know a lot of times in a lot of the cases that I've dealt with guys who cause physical harm to me, they're like, well, I didn't hit you. I'm not abusive because I didn't actually hit you. No, bitch, you fucking hurt me. That's still abuse. It's just, I'm sorry. I'm starting to get a little frustrated. Gotta keep myself calm during this because, yeah. So, pretty much how to deal with these types of things, you gotta be strong enough to know how to get out. You got to be strong enough to want to get out. You have to want more for yourself. Ladies, he's not going to change. I'm going to let you know right now, he's not going to change. I know a lot of times we're all like, oh, well, he was just upset. He's stressed out. That's not an excuse for doing what he did. He's not going to change. That is who he is. He saw nothing wrong with what he did to you, and it is what. Like, for real, because, we tend to try to look past things and we try to remember why we fell in love with this person in the first place. We hold ourselves accountable for the way they are for some reason. We try to find ways to blame it on ourselves. I've been through all of that. I've been there. I've been that woman before. And sometimes you get tired because at the end of the day, like, there are women who have died over this stuff. There are women who have died from brain injuries or men taking it too far and doing the most. It's sick. It's a lot of stuff that, we teach ourselves to tolerate because of many reasons. For me, I've never wanted to stay with somebody in fear of being alone. I have no problem being by myself. For me, it was harder to get out because the type of men that I've dealt with threaten me or force themselves to stay with me, force me to stay with them one way or another, or they remind me who they were to me before and why I fell in love with them in the first place. And that's another reason why it's so important for me to always make sure I have my own, because I don't ever want to stay with the man because I need him financially or something. Never that. It's just, yeah. So what I want to get into now is like how to get out of that. It's not that easy. There's different situations there's different types of situations and scenarios that can occur, and everybody's life is different. But like I said, I'm telling y'all based off of my experience. So, I'd say when I dealt with a person who did assault me in public one time, and he ended up arrested. And I could have left the relationship right then and there, and I should have. I did leave that relationship for another reason. It was mainly because, we just wanted two different things in life, and we weren't moving in the same direction. But I should have left when this happened. He assaulted me in public. I did call 911 because me and this person got in multiple altercations throughout the relationship, and they all ended the same. It ended up with him taking my keys, holding me hostage, and the crazy part is we were going to a restaurant, and he was trying to do the same thing, and it wasn't happening. And it's like, where are you going and where am I going? There's no need to take my keys. I wanted to just ride in silence. And that's another thing. I know a lot of people are going to sit there and ask, well, what did you do? I literally did nothing. The problem that happens to me in every relationship, and I don't know why I end up with these types of men who feel some type of way, but when I'm upset, I don't want to speak. I want to be left alone. And you think men would be grateful for that because y'all tend to feel like women are so naggy and always got to complain. But when I'm upset, I want to be left alone. But I've never found the type of man that wants to be okay with that. They always have to start fights with me because I'm upset and I want to be left alone. Anyway, I'm sorry. My mind started thinking back about that day. But what should have happened that day was when he got arrested, it wasn't just because I called 911, because they were going to call the police in the restaurant anyway because they heard him threatening me constantly. So I borrowed someone else's phone because I knew if I took my phone out, he would take my phone. So I borrowed a cashier in the restaurant. I borrowed their phone, called 911, and while I was on the phone with dispatch and they were going to send police there, he hit me in my face. And police, a lot of people were in the restaurant saw this, and people were trying to get him away from me. I'm standing there, in shock, and I think I started crying, but I was in shock. My face was swelling up, and the girl took her phone from me because in her mind, I literally heard the girl say, "Oh no, don't break my phone." And she took the phone and she was talking to police, talking to dispatch, explaining what just happened. He just hit her, da 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 da. Customers are doing this, customers doing that. So the police came, they arrested him. Because I had a visible injury, they called EMS, and I was examined inside of an ambulance truck. I declined medical attention, and I had every right to do so because I didn't feel that bad. I wasn't unconscious. I didn't black out or anything. I just felt like I just wanted to get home. I wanted to get away from everything. So yeah, after he got arrested, what I should have done that day was block his number and go home and block him everywhere on social media and act like nothing ever happened. That's what I should have done. But for some reason, well, this same person used to threaten to kill my family. So it was hard for me to leave. I did go to his hearing because in my mind I was like, I'm not going to let him think he scares me. That's what made sense at the time. But I should have just ended it right there. So when you do get somebody, ladies, when something happens and the person abusing you does end up in jail, that's your opportunity to escape. You got one night. Rather you end up, if you live with the person and you end up moving, you can't find a place to live, but if you rather stay in the shelter for the night or just pack up everything and leave or have your locks changed, something, that's your opportunity to escape, restraining orders, that's your opportunity to do what you need to do to keep this person away from you. Get a restraining order or leave him in jail, okay? Like, so many women who get this man arrested, after the argument, they make up and get him out or whatever. Stop that. Please stop it. This man is going to do it again and again and again because you've showed him that it's okay. The moment you let that slide the first time and stay together after it happens, you're showing this man it's okay. I know all of us want to be this ride or die, and we want to believe that, it's just a phase, or we try to find ways to think we did it, or we sit here and think, I'm gonna be in this relationship and get through it no matter what. I'm not gonna give up. And there's so many men who will sit there and tell you, oh, you're gonna throw all these years down the drain, you're gonna give up on us like that. No, sir, you gave up on us like that. You threw this all down the drain when you put your hands on me, like, for real. I've had a man tell me that too. You're going to throw all this down the drain. Yes, I don't want to be sitting here. I'm not going to sit here and stay in a relationship for longevity. It doesn't matter how long you are with somebody. I'm telling you right now, time with somebody does not fucking matter. It doesn't. Especially in a situation where you're constantly being abused and stuff like that. Mentally, emotionally, and verbally. I forgot to touch verbal abuse. But verbal abuse is when people use words to intentionally hurt you as well. Yeah, it's get out of that shit, man. It ain't fun. That shit, we need to stop highlighting and stop glamorizing toxic behavior. That shit is not okay, And I think social media kind of hyped up the crazy girlfriend, crazy boyfriend type thing. No, that crazy girlfriend, crazy boyfriend is abusive. That's what that is. That's abuse. That's mental, emotional, physical abuse in many different levels. That's toxic. It's sick. And nobody deserves that in all due reality. Nobody deserves, we got people out here bragging about how they sitting outside of somebody's house, slashing tires, popping up at the job, and all this other extra ass shit that we don't have to do. First of all, ain't no need to do all of that shit, and I damn sure ain't about to do that shit over no fucking body. Trust me, I ain't about to, I gotta put my energy somewhere else. And secondly, like, that shit is toxic. And I'm so tired of hearing guys say, oh, I think it's sexy when she's mad. I think it's sexy when she act crazy. Stop. You're attracted to abuse and you don't even realize it. You're so used to being mistreated, you've conformed your mind to be attracted to that. And fellas, y'all don't deserve that. Okay? Y'all, nobody deserves that shit. And ladies, y'all too, y'all attracted talking about some y'all like it when he get mad, like it when he get rough. You conformed yourself. I mean, there's nothing wrong with liking a little aggression. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think some people have gotten so used to toxic behavior that they've conformed themselves to be attracted to it and don't even realize it. It's wrong. It's sick, But what I want to leave y'all with is this understanding of what abuse is, and how to, it's so many different ways to get out of it. I know I discussed that. One, like I said, always look for the opportunity to escape. If you are living with a person, a lot of times in a lot of situations, your goal is to just survive. When you're dealing with somebody who is stronger than you, Ladies, most times a man is going to be stronger than you. It took me a while to accept that. I always said, ain't no man going to overpower me. But it's the truth. Like, a lot of men have a different type of strength than women do. But that doesn't mean you can't move furniture and do heavy ass shit. Because I hate saying that because growing up, I was okay with heavy lifting and stuff like that. And my mom was all like, well, men do this bigger. Men have more muscle and men do this. Men are built different. You're a lady. You have to worry about bearing children one day. And I was like, fuck all that shit. I carried my whole desk. I carried that off of a third story of an apartment when I was 12 weeks pregnant. The fuck y'all talking about out here? And guess what? My daughter came out strong as shit. Okay. So yeah. What was I saying? When you deal with that type of situation, your goal is always to survive. I know what I've done is it's hard, and sometimes you can't help how a person reacts, but I've done multiple things, and it was hard to get out of the situation I was in because this person was just determined to be angry at me, and he just looked for things and looked for reasons to snap at me and attack me. It was irritating. Like, I would sit there, rather I agreed to whatever he was saying, rather I defended myself and tried to explain what he was saying was not correct. The way this person's mind was he had a certain narrative in his head, and he stuck to that until I said something that would give him the okay to him, because it's never okay, but he waited till I would say something that made him feel like he had the okay to grab me by my throat and slam me against the wall or slam me on the floor or drag me across my kitchen. He looked for reasons to think that was okay. Like, it's like nothing worked. Rather, I sat there and told him the truth up front. He had a problem with that. He had a problem with rather I told him what he wanted to hear, because then he felt like I was lying to him. Well, you didn't want to hear the truth and you want to hear a certain thing. Then it's like I agree with whatever he's saying, or I just got to a point where I wouldn't say anything at all. I tried leaving. I tried escaping. I tried giving him space and giving myself space. It's so many things that you could try, and sometimes it won't work. But you will find, I want to tell y'all ladies who are in abusive relationships or facing domestic violence, you will find your way out. That's the key, to just look for that opening. Look for that time. Get a plan together. If you are in a home and you have your children and he's doing something to you, wait for him to go to work. Come up with a plan. Call a friend out of town and say, hey girl, I'm going to try to come tomorrow. I'm going to try to come tonight. Go ahead and, wait for him to get up in the morning and go to work and just pack everything, grab the kids and go. Stuff like that, It's just look for that window. Look for that window of opportunity. In the moment of somebody's raging episode or in the moment where they're attacking you, the goal is to just survive and get through it. Okay? The goal is to just not die. If you know how to do that, okay, you got through the night. He's calmed down, act like nothing ever happened, and just when you get the opportunity, whether he's going to work or if he's out of town for the week or something, look for an opportunity, just get going, all right? But like I said, I really wanted to talk about abuse and domestic violence because I think it really happens because a lot of people don't know what it is. So I told y'all what it was and what it is. I also told y'all, how to get out of it. I think I did. Also remind y'all that people are not going to change. And like I said, I know good and well because everything I post when I say something about how men treat women, it never fucking fails. Men have to jump in and be like, well, women do this too. And I'm actually going to make a Facebook post about this. Okay, but here's what y'all need to understand. I am a woman that dated men. I've never dated women, okay? So I don't know if I'm not saying women don't do things, and I'm never saying all men do things, because I'm not saying all men are abusive. Just because someone says men are abusive does not mean they're saying all men are abusive. It's just saying that there are men that are abusive, okay? So before everybody comes in my messages and stuff acting all offended, I am aware that not all men are abusive. Like I said, I specifically said it this is from my experience on some of the men I've dealt with. Not all men that I've dealt with were abusive, but there's quite a few of them that were, and it was easy to get out. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands that I know not all men are abusive, and I'm not saying that women are not abusive. I've never been abused by a woman, so I cannot speak on that perspective, like I said. And fellas, if you would like to speak on my show, whether you live in the city I'm in or not, we can do a Zoom conversation or something. If you would like to speak on my show about surviving abuse and domestic violence by a woman in a relationship, or even women, if you want to speak on surviving abuse and domestic violence by a woman, hey, y'all are more than welcome to contact me and we could do another episode, because I actually would like to do that. But I'm letting y'all know right now, okay? I know not all men are abusive. I'm not saying all men are abusive. I never said all, so let's shut the fuck up with that shit, because there'll be about 6 guys commenting on my shit, getting so damn offensive and so damn butthurt about shit. That's the problem, y'all's men. Y'all feelings be so damn fragile. That is so irritating. I'm not saying men can't express themselves, but I think men are not taught how to manage their emotions, and I think that's also part of the problem. Nobody taught men how to express themselves in an adult manner. It's like after y'all are about 3 or 4, people teach y'all not to show emotion, because that's not what boys and men do. So now this you're stuck when it comes to expressing your emotions. You're stuck in the state of mind of a 3 or 4-year-old boy, because that's the last time you expressed emotions. If a 3-year-old or 2 or 3-year-old came over here and got mad and hit me, it's okay. It's a little teeny tiny fist. They're 3 years old. No impact. Go sit in timeout. Cool off. Done. You're a grown-ass man coming around acting like that. It's a fucking problem. You can kill somebody. Okay? Let's get that straight. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going. But like I said, I know that not all men are abusive. I did not say all men are abusive. I said dealing with people who are abusive. That is what I said anyway. But thanks y'all for listening. I hope this episode was a little enlightening. I tried to do what I can. I had to pause a couple times because my daughter was upset. She's teething right now, so I had to go handle her in between recording this podcast. So yeah, thanks y'all for listening. Make sure y'all follow 2 Real 4 Radio on Instagram at 2 Real 4 Radio. Also follow us on Facebook at 2 Real 4 Radio. What else? Follow my company at VibeMajor843 on Instagram. Follow me, Paris Digital 100. Make sure y'all subscribe.